Hi folks, this is RPG here, and I'm here to present another 2 cents video on the 2 cents block for you all. And welcome to the last part of where I talk about the big three with their press conferences at E3 2014. And I've saved the best to last. And we're going to be talking about Nintendo this time around. Now, like every other video, I'm going to reserve my judgment and just present to you what I just saw and see whether I thought it was cool or not. So anyway, with all that out of the way, here I go. So, the Nintendo digital event opened up with there being an opening animation in the style of Robot Chicken. So, I guess Nintendo partnered up with the people who made Robot Chicken, which I think is Seth Green, and they made this whole presentation in the style of that, that Toymation or whatever, and then they went on to do a bunch of different segments that keep popping in and out of the whole thing. And the first one that they started off with is both Iwata and Reggie fighting on the stage, and it looks like they were doing something in the style of Mortal Kombat. And let me tell you, I thought that was actually a pretty good setup for what they had to showcase with Smash Brothers that came up. And the thing that they showcased in Smash Brothers were two things, and one of them was that you have the ability to create your own Miis, or have your own created Miis become their own customizable characters. Either they can be a sword character, a fighter character, or a shooter type character. Sword character like in the vein of Link, a fighter character like in the vein of Mario, and a shooter character like in the vein of Samus Aran from Metroid. And the other thing they showed was this toy that you can actually place on the Wii U gamepad, which is supposed to represent the NFC functionalities of the system, and it actually brings about a new a character that's already been where its data is already from the NFC figure into the game, but they actually have like their own hard or maximized stats to where they actually make them very hard opponents to fight, or they can fight for you, either way. And then shortly after that, we learned that their official name is Amiibo, and you can use them to do all sorts of things with all Nintendo games going forward, where you can actually get data from the NFC figures, or the figurines, and you can actually get all sorts of unique things happening in the game. And Super Smash Bros., from what we saw, is going to be the first game to represent this new feature, but they said that other games are also going to be taking effect with this feature, like Mario Kart 8, for example, and I'm thinking that we're going to be seeing that for like DLC characters and that kind of stuff. So instead of having to pay for DLC, we actually can get access from them through the NFC figures. So that way you can buy the NFC figures and you won't even have to buy anything from the Wii U eShop. So I think that's actually pretty cool. And the next game that they showed off was one that was long overdue for an update on how it was progressing, and that game is Yoshi's Woolly World, where we thought it was called either Yarn Yoshi or Yoshi's Epic Yarn. And we saw Takashi Tezuka, as well as the guy who was the main producer or director for Yoshi's Epic Yarn, and they talked about bringing the world of Yoshi to life with that, that yarn and fabric aspect. And I gotta say, this game, Yoshi's Woolly World, it actually looks, it looks way more prettier than Kirby's Epic Yarn, and it looks, oh my gosh, I just don't even know where to begin. It looks cute, cuddly, and just looks very fun to play. I would say that Yoshi's Woolly World, from what we're seeing, actually puts Yoshi's New Island on the 3DS to shame. Even though it's still a good game, but it's putting that game to shame based on what is going on with the new Yoshi game being made. So that's definitely something to look forward to for next year. And the next game they showed was something that was actually another bit of a surprise, which is called Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. And this is based off the little Captain Toad. These are based off the Captain Toad levels from Super Mario 3D World, where you can actually play as Captain Toad to get the green stars that are in place of the levels. But this time around, you're actually playing as Captain Toad, collecting like diamonds or crystals, as well as getting the Power Star at the end, the traditional yellow Power Star. So I'm thinking that this game is going to be in the vein kind of like Super Mario Galaxy, but in the whole mode where you can play as Captain Toad. So where you can get one Power Star at the end of, each level. If there is 120 levels for this, I think that's actually going to be pretty darn sweet. And oh boy, the next game that they showed was one that was very, very, very surprising, and that was The Legend of Zelda, the new Wii U game that's being developed right now. While they didn't have a name finalized for the game just yet, but the footage that they showed of the game was, oh my god, it's just, looking at Hyrule, it's completely open world, like what they said, in, like what, Eiji Aonuma said in the past from interviews and stuff, that he wants to build an open world Legend of Zelda because he is a really big fan of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and he wants to rethink the conventions of the Zelda franchise. And it looks like we're going to be seeing that in this new installment. And then we see what supposedly some people believe to be Link actually riding on this horse, while it may not be Epona. But is he or she is riding on this horse and actually battling, I think, this octopus creature, or it could be an Octorok, we don't know, but is actually battling it with a bow and arrow while riding on the horse, and the person can actually use the bow with the right hand. So some people have speculated that it might not be Link, but you never know. It actually could be Zelda going incognito in case she needs to save the hero of time this time around, or the main hero. So, this could be Nintendo's big chance of where they do a role reversal, but done in the right way, not like the CDI games. Oh, wait, they don't even exist, do they? Okay, next game they showed was Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and it pretty much is going for the same engine as from Pokemon X and Y, which was pretty much a given, but we actually do get to see new Mega Evolutions take place, and, for people who actually missed out on Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, which was a very underrated generation, Gen 3. Now they actually have the chance to actually try it out. So, there you go. Bayonetta 2, we actually get to see a new trailer for the game, and as well as gameplay. And it's shaping up to be a pretty decent Wii U title. And we actually do get to see this game come out for the Wii U in October in our region, both our region and in Europe. And not only do we get Bayonetta 2, but if we get the retail package of Bayonetta 2, it also has the game Bayonetta 1 included. So that way we can play both games if we want to play the whole experience. And the funny thing, and not just the funny thing, but the awesome thing with Bayonetta 1 is that it also includes new costumes of very famous Nintendo characters like Link, Princess Peach, and even Samus Aran. So I thought that was actually, pretty awesome to see that while Bayonetta 1 gets to finally come onto the Wii U, it actually has its own unique content different from the other versions. So looks like I can get rid of my old copy of Bayonetta 1 and actually play that game through Bayonetta 2 or whatever. And the next game that was showcased was a new Kirby game on the Wii U, which is called Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. And from what was shown, it actually is a sequel to Kirby Canvas Curse on the DS, but we actually get to play it on the Wii U. And the visuals this time around, instead of going for fabric and yarn like they did with Kirby's Epic Yarn, they're actually going for more of a claymation feel, which I actually think is pretty unique. I mean, the other games that we actually seen done by Claymation were from Doug TenNapel from the now Pencil Test Studios, where he originally made the Neverhood, and now is about to release his new game, Armakrog. So, yeah, I'm really surprised that we're actually seeing, something of really AAA quality actually going for a visual style like that, because we haven't really seen that many games take that visual approach, and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse actually seems to be the start of a new trend for that, where other different visual styles can actually work in this day and age. But we'll have to see. And honestly, I could never really get into Canvas Curse because I always thought that the learning curve was very steep. But Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, it seems to be going for more of a streamlined approach. So that should make it easier for players to actually get into that game if they could not get into the DS game, which I couldn't, but I still think it's a great game regardless. Or Canvas Curse was still a great game regardless, and I know that Rainbow Curse is definitely on track to not disappoint with us in the future. Okay, the next game that was shown was Monolith Soft's X, and we finally get a name for the game, which is called Xenoblade Chronicles X. And this is supposed to be a spiritual sequel that takes place many, many years after what happened in Xenoblade Chronicles, but it treats itself as its own story. Now, I will say, it seems like they're kind of rebooting the Xeno universe, but just going by the Xenoblade Chronicles approach. because we actually do get to see spaceships, and you're actually fighting off against like this horde of aliens, kind of like the Gnosis from the Xenosaga games, but they actually do appear on this planet, which kind of is harkening back to Xenogears, as well as the dolls that you can travel around with, which harken back to the gears from Xenogears, but they're not really full, replicas or whatever from what we saw in that game. So I'm thinking that Nintendo and Monolith Soft actually managed to get the right to the Xeno games back, because we haven't really seen anything new done by Square Enix or even Namco Bandai. So I think this is Nintendo getting the rights to where Monolith Soft can actually continue that tradition if they wanted to. But, from the new gameplay trailer, or from the new trailer, from what was shown, I'm hooked to actually buy it. But the game doesn't come out until 2015, which I'm kind of sad by. But hopefully it's a spring 2015 release, because that would be awesome. Now, the next game, it was actually another very big surprise. It was a game called Mario Maker. And what it is, it's a user-generated content creator for making your own Mario stages, either in the original Super Mario Bros. 8-bit style or the HD style of New Super Mario Bros. U. But it's kind of done in the form of Mario Paint. And, I like to call this game Mario Paint 2.0. But instead of, making your own pictures, you're actually creating your own stages, and then you can possibly upload them online or through the online servers to where you could have other people playing your stages, or you can play their own stages. So I think, if that's the approach that Nintendo is going, it's going to please a lot of people. And that a lot of people have been wanting to make their own Mario stages, and this seems to be a good first step. But for like other graphic styles, or for other types of games that we actually want to make that are either in 2D or 2.5D, we'll just have to see how this goes. But hopefully it won't be a full retail game. I can only see it working as a download title. But if they do it as a download title and you actually still have the ability to upload your own stages like through online, then that's going to please a lot of people. Okay, and the next game is a new IP from Nintendo called Splatoon, and it's a third-person shooter that's kind of in the vein of Team Fortress 2, but instead of having guns, you actually have paintball guns to where you're actually where you actually need to spray or shoot ink, or like huge blobs of ink onto the maps, to where you can actually face off against your opposing team to see how much of the colored ink you can actually get on the map. So instead of just shooting at people like what you would normally do in Team Fortress 2, but the whole emphasis is just trying to see how much of your own color of the paint that you can get, or the ink that you can get on the battle maps that you play on. And the other thing is that you can actually transform into the squid that can swim around in your colored ink, and doing so, you can actually refill your ink gauge because you do have limited ammo, and you can actually, continue from where you left off. So there is a bit of strategy involved, and I really do like that. So I think this is going to, really please a lot of people who are really looking forward for something new and unique from Nintendo. And the thing is, too, is that you can actually play online with this game. So that is going to please a lot of people right there as well. So, this is another great first step for Nintendo to actually get themselves into the online gaming field, and for them doing something that, a lot of people in the general public have been kind of enjoying at this moment. And last but not least, they actually went back to Super Smash Bros. And they finally confirmed that Lady Palutena from Kid Icarus is a playable character. And they've been kind of teasing at this for quite some time, but finally we actually do get to see it in full action. And my God, I've been waiting for her to be playable ever since that supposed leak that came online last year. But hey, we finally actually do get to see the goddess or the deity of Greek mythology in the world of Kid Icarus actually playable. So it looks like she's bound to be my main female lead, along with Zero Suit Samus. And my main male lead is obviously going to be either Mario or Greninja from Pokemon X and Y. But I'm probably going to be sticking with Greninja because I need a new character to play as. But that was not all. They showed one more thing where Miyamoto is actually talking, saying that he has 3 games in development. And one of them he was working on in the background, and it looked like that he was working on a new Star Fox game. And he pretty much confirmed during the Nintendo Treehouse event that he and his team are currently working on a brand new Star Fox game for the Wii U, which is going for more of an episodic route, which he is trying to experiment with. But hopefully it'll be a lot better than what we have seen with past Star Fox games. And I really want this to be like the renaissance of Star Fox being great all over again, like what we've seen with Star Fox 64 before it went downhill with some good games, a la Star Fox Adventures and Star Fox Assault, to some really bad ones like Star Fox Command. But I know some people may hate or actually like the games that I mentioned, but, that's just me. And Mario Party 10 was announced, and a lot of people have been speculating that it's going to be bad because it goes for that same mechanic where you're actually riding in this vehicle going through the different stages like what you did in Mario Party 9, but that's not the case because that's just only one stage. But they're actually giving in more of this emphasis where you can actually play as Bowser, where he's the main playable character in Mario Party 10. So looks like you're finally getting to play as the bad guy for once, but I'm thinking that's going to be its own mode, while in the other Mario Party boards you can actually play it traditionally. So I was glad to know that hopefully only one board is where you can actually ride the vehicle, while you can play Mario Party in the traditional sense. But we'll have to wait and see more, but it is coming out in 2015 like Star Fox on the Wii U. But last but not least, this one actually really shocked me after the whole Nintendo Digital event. You remember the game Devil's Third that was being published by THQ before they went bankrupt, which was supposed to be Tobunobu Itagaki, the creator of both Dead or Alive and the reboot of the Ninja Gaiden franchise. It was supposed to be his new IP, but THQ did not even survive, and they pretty much had to give the IP back to Valhalla Game Studios. But now Nintendo has picked up the publishing rights to Devil's Third, and it is a Wii U exclusive. So, yeah, for those who say that Nintendo's a kiddie company, my God, you really need to quit thinking about them in that image and just start experiencing the company for going through this change, because that's definitely where they need to be. They need to not be considered that type of image within their stance as a family company and appeal to all brands, where they want to appeal to both the casuals and the hardcore. And Devil's Third, along with Bayonetta 1 and 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles X, is showing that, the company is for more than just casuals. They really do want to bring the gamer back for the Wii U, and everything they've done in this press conference so far has been a really amazing showcase. Now, probably the only thing that I have to say that was bad about the digital event, and this was just more of a minor inconvenience, but it didn't seem like there was a heavy hitter to close off the digital event. I mean, it was great that we got to see Palutena, but why they didn't bring a showcase to, or even a teaser for Star Fox Wii U, I'm not even sure. But it was good to know that we actually do see, a bit of gameplay, and that the game is actually being made at this point. So I guess you could say it's just a minor nitpick. But overall, Nintendo really, really made a grand slam of a performance at E3 this year. And they continue to do so with their Treehouse event, with what they've been showing so far with Miyamoto's 2 new IPs, aside from the Star Fox Wii U game he's making, and for all the behind the scenes looks at the old games that are in development, as well as the newer ones that have been announced. So yeah, they continue to impress, as well as the Smash Brothers Invitational, and that actually turned out to be a really great performance as well. So Nintendo is really kicking ass and taking names for this year's E3. And the thing that I've been hearing people say that E3 is not a contest. Well, in a sense, it actually is, because you want companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo showcasing what they want the general public, or they want everybody to actually look upon, and they want to gain their trust. So they're trying to win your trust to know if you actually had the best performance, to see if they had the best performance, and it's to see if you are sold to actually buying their games when they come out. And by golly, Nintendo actually did hit it out of the park. And for those of you who are looking forward to, who still haven't even bought or still haven't even found a reason to possibly even buy a Wii U or maybe even a 3DS, now is probably the perfect time that you do so right now, because there's a lot of great content that's coming, and hopefully we actually get to see more of what's coming out in 2015 and beyond. But I guess we'll have to wait until next year's E3. So overall, my rating for the Nintendo press conference was a definite solid A+. I definitely thought it was the best one out of the whole thing. And but like I said, all big three first-party publishers, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, they all did pretty well for E3 this year. And I think Nintendo managed to slightly get ahead of the competition with how well and how much of quality they put into their presentation as of this year. And I will say this. The presentation of what they did with the digital event was a bigger step forward than what they presented last year with the Nintendo E3 Direct. This one was much, much better. And, hopefully one of these days they'll go back to doing another presentation. But if this is their way of going forward with future offerings of what they're showing at E3, then I say go with this, because this definitely shows that Nintendo has worked this out very well for where everybody can enjoy it. And it seems like they did enjoy it. And there was a lot of us who are actually, getting very excited with what they showed during the Nintendo Digital event. And while I was doing the live streams with the folks of the Akari Cast, as well as those of the Game Riffers, I was actually getting very excited from what I was seeing, especially with that whole thing with Reggie and Iwata doing that fight to promote Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U and 3DS. But anyway, that's all I have to say about Nintendo's E3 digital event, for that matter. I thought it was really good, but E3 itself is still going on right now. But hopefully we actually do get to see more big surprises coming from them. But not only just them, but from also Sony and Microsoft. But we'll just have to hold on to our judgment and see how far along that goes. So anyway, guys, that's all I have to say, as I said. And if you like what you saw, then be sure to rate this video, as well as leaving your positive and negative feedback down in the comments. And if you like what Nintendo showcased at their digital event, let me know why. And if there was something that you did not like, then please explain why you didn't like it. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button down underneath the video, as more support from you means that more content is coming from me in the future that you won't even find anywhere else. Anyway, guys, I got to get back to watching E3. I may do one based on what third-party games I'm actually looking forward to that showcased at E3 this year, but we'll have to see. But anyway, guys, this is Double RPG signing off by saying to you all, Godspeed and game on, gamers. Have a good one and enjoy E3.